Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
History is repeating itself, but the media won't admit it. Lamar Jackson is criticized for his playoff struggles, but what if I told you his postseason record is nearly identical to Peyton Manning's first 7 seasons? Nah, bump that. They are exactly the same. They both, through the first 7 seasons of their career, sported a 3-5 playoff record. They both made an AFC Championship game appearance in year 6 and then fell in the divisional round the following season. You would think that we would learn from history, but some have a narrative to push, so this is expected. There were great expectations for Manning, but somehow Lamar's career is already written in stone. Manning was the chosen one, the one player that would lead Indy to countless titles. But before Manning became a Super Bowl champion, he couldn't win in the playoffs at all. Sound familiar? I thought that it did. The media dragged Manning for years.
Cannot play with him. Cannot win with him. Cannot coach with him. Can't do it. I want winners.
Now they're doing the same thing to Lamar. Manning was the ultimate can't-miss prospect. The first pick in the draft, destined for greatness. Lamar Jackson, he was the wild card. He was questioned, doubted, asked to switch positions because he was too athletic. He wouldn't make it in the NFL with his style of play. But by the time Manning reached year 7, everyone knew he would eventually win it all. But Lamar, the criticism just won't stop. What were they to do with such an athlete? They did not know what he was or what he would become.
I'm a motherfucking monster!
Almost falling out of the first round entirely until Baltimore traded back in to select him with the 32nd pick in the 2018 draft. But here we are 7 years later, and his legacy is still in question after the year he just had in 2024. Peyton Manning himself finally broke loose in year 9. Why can't Lamar in year 8? LJ is just 28 years old.
He's 30.
And some of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history did win a championship by the time they were Lamar's age now. Drew Brees was 31, Steve Young 33, Matthew Stafford 34. John Elway was 37 years old when he won his first title. And Peyton Manning himself, he was 30. So let's pump the brakes on the Lamar won't win a Super Bowl narrative, because he still has plenty of time left. Now, let's rewind history. Let's take a look and see, did Manning actually get a pass for his early playoff failures? Peyton Manning is a regular season QB. He chokes when it matters the most. Maybe Manning isn't clutch. Does he have the it factor? Can he actually lead his team to a championship? Today, those same arguments are being recycled for Lamar Jackson. But is that fair? Let's break it down. We are now going to take a deeper dive into the playoff careers of both players. Through their first 7 seasons, they both played 8 playoff games each, with both having a 3-5 record. Many in the media want to tarnish Lamar's accomplishments, putting his accolades in a box of playoff failures.
This is our little boundary box, and we're going to put it in there, and we're going to close this box, and we're going to throw this bitch in the ocean. And the only way that you can get to this box is you got to be motherfucking Jacques Cousteau.
Defining his legacy by the numbers of championships that he has yet to win. And yes, I said yet. All-time sports greats like Charles Barkley, Dan Marino, Randy Moss, Barry Sanders, and Ken Griffey Jr. failed to climb the top of the mountain. But does that take away from their greatness? Well, it seems to for only one, that being Lamar Jackson. Even in today's NFL, Josh Allen has not received this same type of criticism despite being ringless himself and just winning his first MVP last season. But of course, he gets multiple passes and many excuses made for him. Allen nor Manning had the start of their careers like Lamar Jackson has. Lamar won an MVP his first full season as a starter, and it took Manning until year 6 to get the first of his record 5. It took Josh Allen 7 years to get his first. Lamar is currently on his second with many more to come. So this leads us right back to Peyton Manning, who hadn't had the success early, but many believe that it was just a matter of time before he would win at least one. So why is Lamar not extended that same grace? He is only entering his 8th year and is not done by far. Actually, not only is he not done, he is getting better with age like a fine wine. So Why does Lamar get labeled as a failure while Manning was always expected to overcome his struggles? No one ever has an answer as to why things are different when it comes to Lamar, but we can all speculate, and you already know what time it is.
Yeah, boy!
Okay, enough with all the fluff and some of the things that we believe. Let's just jump straight into the numbers. In Peyton Manning's rookie season, not only did he not make the playoffs, he led the entire NFL with 28 interceptions. Lamar, on the other hand, has led the Ravens to the playoffs every season that he has played at least 15 games, even taking over for a sub 500 team in his rookie year to eventually lead them to the playoffs. Now, Peyton Manning did lead his team to an epic turnaround in his sophomore campaign, and they made the playoffs after going 3-13 in his rookie year. They made the postseason again in 2000 and 2002, but Manning was 0-3 to start his career. And one of the biggest misconceptions was that it was Tom Brady that was his playoff nemesis and his foil each and every time, but Peyton Manning lost to the likes of Steve McNair, Jay Fiedler, and I bet 95% of you don't even know who the hell he is, with that last game sending him to 0-3 being a 41-0 blowout to the New York Jets. The fucking New York Jets of all teams, with a quarterback that had half a shoulder. So, I need you guys to tell me, when have you ever seen a Lamar Jackson quarterback team get beat that badly? When have you ever seen a Lamar Jackson quarterback team put up 0 points?
Never!
The start to Lamar's playoff career himself was close to Manning's, but slightly a little bit better. Lamar started 1-3, but played against tougher defenses and had to deal with a prime Derrick Henry.
Just in the middle of the back on Earl Thomas.
Watch the reaction from the sideline.
Wow, listen to the crowd. It's not a big crowd, but they're fired up.
The same Derrick Henry who was going to help lead the Baltimore Ravens to win it all in 2025. And yes, I really do believe that. Lamar took an offense designed for someone else to the playoffs, then the next year parlayed that into the best record in the league and an MVP. Then the season after that, he had to take the scraps from off of the island of misfit toys.
We're all misfits!
And will his team to his first playoff win. Now, don't get me wrong, Lamar was far from his playoff best in these games, but his heroics gave his team a chance to win each and every time they stepped on the field. All in all, it took an all-time great 6 years to finally win his first playoff game. 6 seasons for a team that was stacked, not losing to Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. None of these games were versus some people's GOAT of all time, Tom Brady. These first 3 losses were not versus Bill Belichick defenses. They were versus some teams that, in my opinion, may have been a little bit mid. And for one of the greatest quarterbacks of all times, this is truly unacceptable. But we give Lamar a lot of flack for the teams that he lost to. Lamar lost to some teams that actually could have gone on to win the Super Bowl. Peyton Manning, no. He lost to the Backyardigans.
In the place where we belong, we'll probably sing a song, and we'll maybe dance along.
And then later on in Peyton Manning's career came Tom Brady to dismantle the Colts. People love to point out that Lamar doesn't play up to his regular season form, but his numbers aren't quite as bad as people want you to believe. So let's compare the two quarterbacks. In 8 games, Peyton Manning has thrown for 1,958 yards, for 12 touchdowns to go with 8 interceptions. He has rushed for 33 yards and 2 touchdowns. And all of this with Hall of Fame wide receivers Marvin Harrison, future Hall of Famer wide receiver Reggie Wayne, wide receiver Brandon Stokely, tight end Dallas Clark, and Hall of Fame running back Edgerrin James. The first overall pick, projected all-time great, weapons everywhere, and he couldn't get the team to 2,000 yards passing in a passing offense. Over the same number of games, Lamar has thrown for 1,753 yards with 10 touchdowns to go with 7 interceptions. But this is where Lamar stands out. He has rushed for 641 yards and 3 touchdowns. Outside of the Ravens fan base, who can name the receivers that Lamar Jackson had to throw to outside of Mark Andrews? So with their numbers combined, that's 1,991 yards for Peyton Manning with 14 total touchdowns versus Lamar's 2,394 yards and 13 TDs. And even just looking outside of the realm of weapons, Just look at the schemes that these teams ran. Manning had his guy at offensive coordinator while the Ravens threw stuff against the wall hoping that it would stick, bringing in guys not to accentuate Lamar's talents but what they thought that he was, until they finally realized who he really was. So Peyton Manning had a scheme to help him succeed, and Lamar had a scheme to help him run. And they still came out with similar success, but one was a first overall pick and the other was the 32nd pick of the first round, and some people believed at that time he did not deserve that spot. And when we start to look at the numbers and analyze things, Lamar actually had a better passer rating than Peyton Manning did in his first 7 seasons. Peyton Manning threw more interceptions, but both quarterbacks face almost identical early playoff struggles. Yet somehow Peyton Manning's struggles are forgotten, with hindsight being 20/20, while Lamar gets torn apart by critics. Why? Well, let's dig deeper. And I think that we found an answer. Could it be the running? Lamar's rushing yards are over 14 times higher than Peyton's. Peyton Manning wasn't a runner, he stayed in the pocket. He had weapons galore everywhere. But Lamar is built different. He's the most dangerous dual threat quarterback in league and playoff history. And yet the critics act like his play style is a weakness. Why? Because it breaks the traditional quarterback mold. Peyton Manning got a pass for his playoff losses. Lamar does not. The media protected Manning, calling it growing pains. But Lamar's losses, they're labeled as proof, evidence that he can't win, that his style isn't suitable or sustainable, and it isn't built for winning championships. Why? Because Lamar does not fit the traditional quarterback mold. The NFL has never really liked quarterbacks who disrupt their system. They've resisted Michael Vick. They dismissed Cam Newton. Now they don't want to acknowledge Lamar Jackson's greatness. Lamar is getting the same treatment because his success threatens the old way of thinking. But the numbers say it's time to stop the double standard. Now, let's just imagine things played out last season as they properly should have. And imagine Lamar Jackson as a 3-time MVP. He'd be in these same conversations as Brady, Manning, and Mahomes. He'd completely change how the NFL evaluates quarterbacks forever. Every young quarterback, a la Caleb Williams, Anthony Richardson, Jalen Hurts, would be modeled after Lamar's style. But the NFL does not want that. But you know what? It's coming anyway. The National Football League needs to stop disrespecting Lamar Jackson. Drop a thought in the comment section. Is Lamar being treated unfairly? Is he following in the same path as Peyton Manning? Let me know what you guys think. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Rogue Pod to get all of your Baltimore Ravens news, NFL action, whatever is going on. If you want the truth, if you want someone to tell you how it is without the fluff, make sure you come back and check me out.